Okay, I'm going to do a video about a deck I purchased. Most expensive deck I've ever purchased. I will tell you the price. I found this in a very roundabout way. I watched this woman. Her name is Mary Lynn Buchanan. And she is I'm not sure what she does for a living, but she loves looking at art. Like she goes to art galleries all over the world, and shows different artists and talks about art. And she has a YouTube channel. She's a lot of fun to watch. And she recently was in Chicago, not too long ago. She was in Chicago, and she went to see some. It's called, I guess, the Hilma's Ghost installation, and it was art, sort of an homage to Hilma Klint, who I have a book of. Hilma Klint lived over 100 years ago, and she is credited with being the first abstract artist back in like 1910 and 1920. And she'd had an interesting thing going on. She was an artist, a regular artist. She was Swedish, I think, and she did art. And then she started exploring the abstract art. She started then thinking it was very spiritual, and then started having doing getting together with other artists or other friends, and kind of tapping into the greater consciousness. And she started becoming more spiritual. She became a medium and that sort of thing. And her art really changed after that. And there's this great book. This is the book that is available on Amazon. I did show this book in one of my videos, and I'll link it to this. So below you'll see a link to this book on Amazon. And it's really interesting stuff. She was a traditional artist, then she went into abstract art. She went into the spirituality and the seances and the mediumship work and everything. And she became much more reclusive. She never sold her stuff. She just kept doing it. And her family kept everything, never threw anything out. They saved everything. And just recently, this past, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, they had a huge installation at, I think it was MoMA. It may have been MoMA. It may have been another place in New York City. But I think it was the Museum of Modern Art, of her works. And they're huge. They're huge. They're big stuff. So, with that in mind, she went to Chicago, Mary Lynn Buchanan, and she was in this called Hilma's Ghost art show, exposition, or whatever they call it. And the paintings were just breathtaking. They're abstract, but they just, like, the colors, and I was just taken by them. I said, oh my, if I could paint like that. Very clayish, or clay, I'm not sure if it's, Paul Klee, very much like him, but kind of in the future. Very, very cool stuff. So then I went back to find her. I went back and I started trying to find that video that she did, because I wanted to look at the art again. And I did find it, but then I was led to other things, because she had links in her videos, I do believe. And I was sent here. Now this, from what I gather, it's called The Abstract Futures Tarot by Hilma's Ghost. And I do believe it is a collection of art by several artists, but with the same, you'll see it's all very similar. It feels like one person did it. And so I don't know too much more about the tarot deck, but since I do collect tarot decks, and I said, this is cool. And I looked at, they had the cards available to look at. So you'll see them here, but you'll also be able to see them with the link that I'll send, that's also below. Now, this is not a traditional deck. And if you go on the website, you'll see all the cards. And if you hover over a card, it'll morph into what the card's meaning is. And it's all very poetic, and it's not Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's kind of like, if you read by the suits and you read numerically, you can kind of, read, develop a reading style of your own and read it on however you read a tarot deck. I think a lot of people start with Rider-Waite-Smith and they get used to it and then they expand out. So I'm going to show you this deck. Did I say it was $100? It was $100. That was a lot of money. Beautiful, nice little presentation. Matte finish, very high end. It's very, very well done. High end. Here's it opens up. It's got this little tab here to bring it out. So here are the cards. I will never use this for a reading, I don't think. And here are the cards, and they're gilded. And here's the backs. Again, they're kind of, an abstract design. Like this, you'll see in the book, very similar to her style. So we're going to go through this deck. There's really not much to say. I mean, the art in the deck is unique. It's you may like it, you may not like it, but I think it's beautiful, beautiful. And it's very, very Klee-ish. If you like Klee, I think you'll like this. If you like any of those people from the Bauhaus movement, they would also, this is very Bauhausy. In fact, she was involved with those people, and she was hoping to get her art shown in those places that they were involved with, but they didn't really support her much. She had promises of things, but nothing ever came through. It was kind of interesting. It was a very male-centric organization back then. Maybe, and I think it was, anyways. So here, let's go through the majors. The Fool. Now, how you see these cards, if you know the tarot, it's up to you to draw your conclusions about what these, how you can see this as the Fool. The one thing, like here, the color is interesting. It's kind of dark, but still, if you want to see the Fool in here, you could. I mean, here's almost like a figure standing, looking like atop something, looking over something. Here's a Magician. Again, very, very abstract. Let's see, let's put these here. I don't know how to do this. Oh, here. Sorry about this thing. Okay, the Magician. Now, I believe that cards can be read very intuitively once you get used to once you see, it's a magician, if you read cards a lot, you could look at this and you could draw things from it that to you would mean a musician, a magician. So, a lot of this would be an intuitive reading, or you could just memorize, what a magician is, and you could just say, well, this is the magician card, and this is about, making something happen, materialize. And you could figure that out and see what the metaphors are that you could draw from the picture that you could then use to describe what the card means. The High Priestess. Now this was a little bit more like the High Priestess. She's in front guarding something. She's got like columns on the side. So that's a little bit more like a High Priestess. But if you didn't know the High Priestess, you could still read this card intuitively. You could definitely see a person in there, and that she's blocking something behind her. The Empress. Now, what I have, an interesting thing about these majors is as arresting as they are, the black backgrounds to me are while they're interesting and intriguing in many ways, they are also too dark, and it seems like you could have done more with them. Now here we see the Empress and the Emperor. There's very similar, but one is pink and one is blue. So I think someone thought about that. The tops are the same. So you see these cards have a similarity. And then you could talk about how the Empress is different from the Emperor. And the Empress is more fertile. There's more things around her. Here is more serious, more direct. So you can kind of see how you could bring the card to life, the meaning. The Hierophant. I'll move the side for Hierophant over here. There's the Hierophant. Interesting. Again, if you just approach this visually, they're very intriguing. And they're beautiful cards. They're going to be slippery, though. I haven't used them, so we're going to let's try to... the Lovers. The Lovers, of course, there's two people, two figures, two columns. So you could easily read that. And there's a connection. The Chariot. Yeah, sort of forward motion. Strength. Now I kind of see a cat whiskers here. Is that enough for me to read the strength, what a strength is? But since I know what strength is, I could possibly pull out things and present this in a way that would be the card, the Major Arcana card of strength. The Hermit. So it's interesting. It kind of makes you think about what abstraction is. And abstraction is taking something that's representational and making it non-representational or pre-representational. And I can see the pre-representation here with the figure kind of there in the back. It's almost like a hand drawing. And that could be the light that he holds. So abstract is a very interesting idea. The thing about abstract paintings, which, unless they're certain kinds of abstract painting, it's hard to get bored with them because when you look at them, there's always something different to see. Wheel of Fortune, very much like the Wheel of Fortune. Justice. Now the scales, you kind of see this, the center of the scale here, and it's kind of going up and down. One's higher than the other, and there's a weight being pulled here. That for me is a very interesting Justice card. Again, it's very, very dark. I wish it was a little lighter on the background so you could see this blue. There's a blue column here. The Hangman, perfect. Now that's an abstract hangman that is very, very reflective of a hangman, but in an abstract way. That was a really good job. I'm going to put these over here for now because they're too slippery to stay in a stack. Death. Now, what you may see in the, I don't know if you see this in the viewfinder, this is death. I mean, this is like, there's something and now there's nothing except these little triangles here. One is colored. There's a little thing here. It looks like maybe the earth, and then there's a blank screen. You could do a lot with that. Again, if it was just a little more contrast, I think you'd be able to pull more out of it. Temperance. That's a beautiful Temperance card. Weighing, moderating. The Devil. I'm not sure how that refers to the devil, but I guess if I think long enough, I'll be able to I would be able to come up with something. Now they are clearly marked on the bottom, which is good. The Tower. An event happens, it's unavoidable, and it shows that. And the Star is a beautiful card. And that's nice because you have the star in the dark sky. This is really nice to me, this design. Is there any other colors in there? I don't think so. After the star comes the moon. Kind of interesting. They have a little moon here. They have a half, like a quarter moon, or maybe even less of a quarter moon. Here is the sun. Of course, very different. The sun, of course, is in the center, and then there's stars all the way around it. So it's up for interpretation. Judgment. It definitely looks like an angel. I think in Judgment they do have an angel there sometimes, I do believe. And then the World. The World is a nice card. It's kind of, you see something that's holding something, like everything is somewhat contained and growing from it. So that's nice, that's cool. Now, we get into the minors, and the minors are pips. Again, they continue with the abstract theme. Now here's the Ace of Wands. New beginnings of passion, of a creativity. It looks to me, the wands, I think what they are, it goes up, and then there's like a light at the top. This is kind of the top of a torch. But when I look at it, I also see a sword coming down. But it's not a sword, it's a wand. So luckily it is named down here, so you know it's a torch and not a sword pointed down. So again, these are pips. So with previous knowledge of numerology, or of the suits, the sign, the elements, you can read these nicely. Otherwise, you'd have to read them intuitively, and maybe you can. You can also have, know the Rider-Waite-Smith, and it can take some of that information and bring it into this reading. Wands. Two of Wands. These are much brighter than the majors. Three of Wands. And then we get into the pips, the Four of Wands, the Five of Wands, now fives are, there's a change with fives. They're not stable. They're an uneven number, so they're not stable. And yet they have this very stable square inside them, which is interesting. Now, how much did they know about? How much were they aware of the tarot, or was this also intuitively done? I don't know. And yet, for the art itself, it's worth purchasing, I believe, if you like abstract art. Some of it is really amazing. Now the wands, they have a color similarity, which is good. Wands are fire, and here we have fiery red. So that's nice that they did that. Six of Wands, Seven of Wands, Eight of Wands, the grid is an interesting format, because it really stops you from going through the card. The Nine of Wands and the Ten of Wands. We go into the court cards page. And here we have the Knight of Wands. Now here's an interesting thing. Here we have almost have the sword coming down, but it on the other cards it almost looks like a wand, but it is the sword because it's a knight. So taking your understanding of what who the Knight of the Wands, what kind of energy is around him, you know, if you can bring that to this picture, you could have a very good reading. Now, the Knight of Wands is is fire, and he's a knight, so that means, you know, he's a fiery knight. And it kind of, in my way, I would think a fiery knight. He's like an actor. He's on stage. Look at all the different box behind him. The Queen of Wands has a softness with the rounds. And here's the King of Wands. So you see how they have been delineating the king and the queens, the emperor and the empress in similar ways, as far as one is all rounded, one is sharp. And you can read a lot of that into that. The reading. The cups. So here we have the cups. Now we're seeing a lot more color in these, which intrigued me, and which I find very nice. And she used a lot of color, Hilma Klimt. It seemed to me she used a lot of color. So here we have the Ace of Cups, the Two of Cups, the Three of Cups. This is something that Hilma, I think, would love right here, because you see I can see the similarities in this card. The Four of Cups. And here they did the four with the four tipped over. That's interesting. It seems like the cups, I don't know if they were done by the same people that did the wands, but the cups seem more tarot-like to me. And that aside, they seem more artistic to me, with the various sizes, the shapes, the colors, the contrast. The Six of Cups. The cups are a nice suit. The Seven of Cups. Here's the personage maybe, and then there's the choices that he has to make. The Eight of Cups. The Nine of Cups. That's a beautiful card. I want to look at it this way. You see all the people in it, but it goes this way. Either way, fine. The Ten of Cups. Beautiful card. It's a beautiful card. And the Ten of Cups is a beautiful card. It's a happy family. So there you go. Page of Cups, you see the very similar drawing as in the Page of Wands. So I'm thinking it's going to be the same throughout. The Knight of Cups. Again, they keep this in the background too as well. The Knight of Cups is a loving knight, empathic and empathetic knight. So there he is. The Queen of Cups, of course, very similar, and the King of Cups. I really like this design. These are interesting. They're just so sharp. Is it too sharp? Well, maybe for some people like me, yes. Okay, we're in the sword suit. Ace of Swords. This is another interesting suit. There's a lot going on here, which I think, I mean, a lot of things with abstract art is a very simplification. They simplify things, but I like it when it's kind of like jacked up a little bit, zhuzhed a little bit. These are much more intriguing to me. These ovals and points and rounds and squares and different colors and contrasting and complementary. These are far more interesting to me. So we have the Ace of Swords, and it's very interesting if you want to look at, and they have a lot of little pieces to it that are interesting. The Two of Swords. This is the air suit. Now with this, the colors are changing. They're not consistent. They're not all gray or all of this some kind of sienna. This is all kind of a, I don't know, turquoise. Three of Swords, but they're still beautiful. Look at that Four of Swords. Now there's Four of Swords, but there's no four. There's only three swords. But it's beautiful design, and there's you can do a lot with this. It's the Four of Swords. There's a sword when in a regular Four of Swords with the Rider-Waite Smith. The sword is down here, and then the person's lying, and there's three swords coming down on him. So that much is very true. The Five of Swords is just all this stuff is happening, and that's very much like a Five of Swords. There's a lot going on. There's conflict. There's a lot of things. Conflict in your mind, conflict in your communication, and conflict with others. And this shows it. Although, again, it's a beautiful card. The Six of Swords. Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is a conflictual sword. And if you think numerologically, and in the Rider-Waite Smith, there's conflict. This doesn't feel conflicted to me because it's very even. Although there's three here and there's three here and four up there, but they're not coming at each other. They're like spreading apart. They're going in different directions, which could be read that way too. The Eight of Swords. The Nine of Swords. This is the Nightmare card, I think, which looks just very, very even Steven. And then the Ten of Swords. Again, the Page of Swords, the Knight of Swords with these little blocks on one side. The Knight of Swords is a very active knight, most active knight in the deck, and his sword is pointed very decisively. The Queen of Swords and the King of Swords. Yeah, this is a very different suit. It's all different colors. The cohesion there, well, except for the swords, is not as cohesive as the other two suits. Okay. This is all my opinion. Wait a minute. The King of Swords, yeah, that's it. Now, with that all that be said, that's just my opinion. The Ace of Pentacles. See, now we have similar colors again. We're back to the similar colors. I thought I read somewhere that it was a group project, and I see it. I see that there are some things that are disparate. There seems like one person may have done one suit, another person did another suit. I don't know. I could be wrong. This is a great design. It's very simple yet very complicated. Ace of Pentacles. The dog's outside. The Two of Pentacles. You see the kind of the juggling there. The Three of Pentacles. This is group work, and you see the groupings. I think someone who did this deck, this suit, seems to have thought about or know about tarot more. The Four of Pentacles. 4 there, and then there's the 5 of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles. When the Seven of Pentacles as well, like wondering if you've done enough. And I can see there's this meandering where here you're fine-tuning things. And I can definitely see the difference with those two numbers, those two cards. The Nine of Pentacles. You're building up. 10 of Pentacles. And finally, another happy family, another completion. Very nice, those two cards. Then we have your Page of Pentacles, your Knight of Pentacles, and your Queen and your King. So my take on this is the first time I've actually gone through card by card to discuss it, is they're beautiful cards. It's an homage to Hilma, my friend Hilma, who I never met, who was an amazing person, an amazing artist. I think it's a beautiful deck. I'm not sure how much of a good reader it is. I suspect it may be a very good collector's deck because I don't know how, this is not going to be sold on Amazon. It's sold by I don't know who it's sold by. I think it's at the art, wherever the art was. I'm not sure. Anyways, it's called Abstract Future. Okay, let's get this in here. Abstract Futures and Tarot. And it's by Hilma's Ghost, but I'm sure, I think it's a project that put this together. Beautiful card. I did scan this for the booklet, but I didn't find the booklet, but that's because, maybe I don't know why, but I'll try again. So there it is, my walkthrough of this deck, and it's pretty interesting, to say the least. Please look at the links below to see about the book, and then see about where you can actually see these cards online. And the dog is not stopping, but I am. Have a great day.